Balotelli, Aguero!
Hi everybody, welcome to MCFC 9320 Group TV. Huge game on Sunday at Anfield, Liverpool versus City. 4:30 UK time kickoff. Is there a better time to go to Anfield and catch them after our miserable run there over recent years? Or are you confident that we'll get something? Well, over the past few years, our performances have been okay, but, the results have not reflected that. I think on Sunday it will be a little bit different. I caught up with Mark Duckett a little bit earlier. Mark's a Liverpool fan, and this is what he had to say. Hi everybody, welcome to MCFC 9320 Group TV. I'm delighted that Mark Duckett has joined us today. He's a Liverpool fan. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, born and bred in Lancashire. Father was a big Liverpool fan. Middle name's Kevin, after the great Keegan. I used to go home and away when I was a lad with my dad on the back of his motorbike, and then started going with my mates later on in life. Moved to London in 2002, so I don't get there as much. Still as passionate as ever. Enjoyed the last few years. Not enjoying the last 6 months, but, swings and roundabouts. And, it'd be interesting to see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, so with regards to your season so far, do you put everything down to the injuries you've had, or do you think the way football and sport, to be fair, in general, the way it's affecting a lot of teams, affecting people? We see more and more players coming down with COVID. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I just feel not just because City are top of the league and where Liverpool are, etc., but I'm not enjoying football as much as I did when fans were in there. How are you finding things?
No, I'm not enjoying it. I mean, when obviously last year when we went into the first lockdown and it all got cancelled, I was worried that it was going to be null and voided. I thought 30 years of trying to get this, and even though we were, even ardent City fans, I've got a lot of City friends on Twitter were basically saying it's Liverpool's. They can't not give it Liverpool. Your friends from across the city were all null and void. But even when it came back, even though it was like a bit of a procession to us winning it, it still wasn't as an enjoyable experience. I think, I went to the West Ham game, which was, I think, a few weeks before it all locked down. And the atmosphere was phenomenal. We were lucky to get the win against West Ham, but we knew we were almost there. Since we've come back for the new season, and not just because we're not doing well, it's just not enjoyable. The whole experience isn't enjoyable. The atmosphere is not there, the passion's not there, and I think also the commentators are trying to compensate for this, so they're just talking more bollocks.
Yeah,
and you find yourself muting it. You've got the option to have it with crowd or without crowd. I wish you had the option to have it without commentators, because I think everything together is just making it very sterile.
I totally agree, Mark, and the points you've made, it echoes everybody I speak to. Like the commentators seem to be chatting more rubbish. It's not so good. I've tried it without crowd noise. I've tried just turning the sound off the TV completely, and it's just not enjoyable. I think. Do you think it's time once lockdown, everybody's allowed out and stuff like that? Limited. Do you think football needs fans going back in? Not 100% capacity, but say you've got a 50,000 seater stadium. Surely you can get two or three, even 5,000 in there.
Well, we had it against Wolves, and it made a difference. That 2,000 did make a difference. And I think also you could see the players. One player I'll pick out in particular who I think loves the crowd, not plays to the crowd as in he needs it, but Firmino. he's just not the same. And when we played, I think it was the Wolves game. Oh no, the Spurs game where he scored the late winner.
Yeah,
which was down the other end from the Kop. He because I think for these players to go, and especially the likes of Anfield, especially on European nights. I know some people think there's an Anfield myth, but the crowd are phenomenal there, and they do drive the players on. And I think to go from what we had, I think our last game was the Atletico game where we lost in the Champions League, but the crowd was still absolutely phenomenal. To then come back, and our first game was at home, was against Palace. The drop off is huge, and I think they're still going to want to play.
Because you go on about the Anfield European nights. I always notice the difference between, say, for instance, City's crowd in the Premier League, and then if we play, say, somebody else in the FA Cup or the League Cup, it's really, really flat. So
yeah,
us fans, we recognise what the big games are, and you are absolutely right. It's just not right without fans. So going on to your season so far, you've had quite a few injuries. It's pretty much mirrored what we had last season when we had a lot of key players out. We've had a lot of key players out this season as well, either COVID or just injury. How come that? What's your opinion that it's not gone right? Is it just mainly down to injuries?
I think it's all down to injuries. I think it's down to injuries and the balance. I mean, I think it has. I mean, everybody thinks their team's had it worse, but I think the fact. I mean, who was it? Your main defender last year was Laporte was out, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, but obviously Fernandinho stepped back and did a brilliant job, but we lost. We lost our two within the space of a few weeks. We lost Gomez and Van Dijk. I mean, and Matip is a decent player, but he's so fragile.
He's not on the same level as them two.
He's not on the same level as them either. He's still a very good defender. But then Fabinho dropping back stopped that midfield, defensive. And then Henderson's gone back. So what I find now is, apart from the whole balance is out completely. And also Van Dijk gave us a presence in the opposition penalty area as well. I mean, we don't seem to do, apart from Firmino's headed goal against Spurs, we don't test anybody at the moment.
It commands that fear factor from the opposition, doesn't it, Van Dijk?
Exactly. And also his distribution out of, he could, Van Dijk can pass a ball. He can pass a ball. It's not a hoof. It is a long, long pass. And I think all that together, and I think also the fact that our front three have dropped off a little bit. Trent has not had the best of seasons. He's had a couple of decent games recently, but again, the other night, his crossing isn't right. But I think what's happening with Trent and Robertson, because of what we have in the middle, which is either Henderson or Fabinho, and then a young kid or another, they're not going forward as much. I think they're having to be more defensive.
I agree. It seems like there's sort of like an invisible wall there sometimes. Yeah. It's as if they're playing for Klopp saying to them, I need you to keep an eye on our makeshift back two, and it has affected them without doubt, because Robertson certainly isn't, the same player as he was last season.
No. And at home against, recently with Burnley, we lost, Brighton, we lost the other night, West Brom, and then we went away to Fulham and Newcastle, and they're sitting back, and we just can't, we can't break them down. We just cannot break them down. And what they're doing is they're getting attacking. So by the time we're getting the ball back, we're having to go all the way back down the field. Whereas what we did when we had the full strength, Van Dijk was on the halfway line, Fabinho was there, Henderson was there, Ginny was there. And as soon as they tried to get out, we just got it back in. We were back in. And I think when we lost, I mean, to be honest with you, when the season started, I thought we'd win it again. I did honestly thought, and I thought the addition of Jota gave us an added impetus up front. But once we lost Van Dijk, it was kind of like, okay, this is going to be different. But then once we lost Gomez and then everyone else, we lost Thiago in his second game. Jota.
Is he out for Sunday? I'm sure I've read that he's out for Sunday, Thiago.
I've not read that, but I've not read that today. I saw Klopp's interview earlier on, and he said that Alisson was probably be back because he had an illness. And that Mane and Fabinho were probably going to train today. So them two might be back. But no, I think Thiago's fine. But as I say, you might have seen something that I've not seen recently.
So what's your thoughts on City season so far?
Well, as I said, usually I watch all the games. I mean, I still watch the big ones. But when I watch City, they're winning, but it seems more efficient than the flair of 2 years ago when City would win. You've still won by big numbers, but like sort of 2 years ago when we were both going head to head for it, you were absolutely, blowing teams away, which, as I say, you still are now. But it seems like a more efficient. It seems like a more machine-like.
Yeah,
get the job done. Get the job done.
I caught John Stone's interview earlier, and they said, the way they drilled now is they're pushing right up, and even though it's so like say 2 meters, that 2 meters doesn't sound a lot, but it is. So if the ball comes over the bat, there's not much space for the opposition to get in, and Ederson straight out then, and as you know, some of the distribution Ederson can do is like a quarterback himself at times with some of them passing. But we have had quite a few injuries and illnesses, because we've had got De Bruyne out now, we've got Aguero's been out pretty much all season. What do you think the difference has been between City and Liverpool, and even the Rags really? Also, because it's been nine teams who have been top of the Premier League so far this season.
Well, I mean the away wins are up away. I mean, you only have to look at some of the results. I mean, were you at home when you lost to Leicester, or was it away?
At home, we got beat 5-2, and they absolutely destroyed us.
I know. I mean, us. I mean, we had a full strength team at Villa apart from Alisson, and we got done 7-2. I mean, that was and some of the other results. I mean, I think we've had more away wins already this season than we've ever had before altogether in the Premier League. It seems to be like, obviously, teams seem to be just winning away more than they are at home.
Is that because there's no crowds in stadiums now?
I think so. I think you've got a certain way when you come at home, and I think certainly with like teams come to Liverpool, it's like we're at Anfield. I mean, we've gone 68 games. It's April 2017 when we lost. So teams automatically come in. It's like Old Trafford used to be. Teams would walk onto the pitch, and same as you, they were beaten before the kickoff because the mentality of where they were. But then I think
68 games unbeaten at home, that's some impressive record. And then you get beat by Burnley and Brighton.
I know.
We're changing our name on Sunday to Manchester City. We've got to keep in the bees.
Keep it being there. But I mean, it's and these teams are just doing it. I mean, Brighton the other day were phenomenal. I mean, as poor that we were, I think something like we've had something like 8 shots on target at home. Yeah. I mean, that front three is pretty important. And it's also getting to the point now where, I mean, we haven't had a player, I think, that's had so much vitriol against on Twitter for years and years. And at the moment, we are Origi. When we're looking for a goal and he's bringing Origi on, it's an empty shirt for me at times. It's just, I don't understand Minamino going. Yeah. I mean, reports coming through that he wasn't good in training. But then when he started against Palace the other week when we beat him 7-0. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
There has to be a fine line.
You get some players like that, don't you? They don't do it in training, but on match day they turn up and they put it on. And
I appreciate you've got to do it in training, but there has to be that fine line of right. I mean, there's always stories of Berbatov that he did nothing in training, but on a pitch was a phenomenal player. So to let Minamino go to Southampton, which is good, he's going to get game time there, and to keep Origi or to be. I mean, the other night I wondered why Milner started his 3rd game in 10 days, and he's a phenomenal player.
What is he now? No matter what, 30,
36, 35, 36. But to start 3 games, and we knew they were going to sit back, and I would have started Curtis Jones, and at home, we're just not doing it at home. And then we go away to West Ham, who were on a roll. And it was a bit of a 50-50 first half, and then we scored Mo Salah scored 2 phenomenal goals and things, and away to Spurs, although that one's not looking as good at the moment considering the way they're going.
So, Mark, how can you see Sunday going?
It wouldn't surprise me if we beat you. It really wouldn't. I mean, I think our next 3 games are really good for us because it's you, Leicester, and Everton.
Yeah,
and that's 3 teams who are not going to sit back. So, I mean, I was looking today. I just jotted a few things down. I didn't realize you've not won at Anfield since May 2003.
In my head, we have. We've won a few times, but on the pitch, we've not.
Well, in that case, we've got more league titles than we have. But yeah, I mean, I think we are there for the taking. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he puts any of the new defenders in, because we clock when he brings a new player in. He's saying we did with Robertson and Fabinho. You don't see them for weeks because he likes to integrate them in with the way style of play just on the training ground. But I think he will want to get either Henderson or Fabinho back into the midfield. So he might start with one of them guys.
If I was Klopp, and because I've watched quite a bit of football this season, I would definitely put Fabinho in as centre back, because if you leave 2 newbies, centre back, I think that we could have a field day with that. As a perspective, I hope you do.
No, but I don't. Yeah, I don't think. Sorry, I don't think he'll put both in. I certainly don't think he'll put both in. But and I don't think he would put one with sort of like Phillips or Williams. I mean, Phillips has done well, but he's not quick. He's good aerial, and new boys pass it around so fast. You could have a new boy's blood twisted in no time. So it would be interesting. I mean, I would never. It'd be all right, to be honest with you, I would take a draw right now. The way Liverpool are playing, I'd probably be disappointed with a draw, but that's because of the way defensively we are. I just hope we can keep it tight on Sunday. The way we've been playing, because I think Diaz and Stones, they've been a revelation. With Cancelo, he's been absolutely fantastic. I can see Laporte starting at left back again, so we can slip into a back 3 if we want, while the others push on. Jesus seems to be finding a little bit of form now. He's Sterling is still the question marks there for not just me, but most City fans. We know the lad's got it, but he just seems to lose the ball so many times. From our perspective, we've got Gundogan, who's best form of his career. He's phenomenal at the moment.
Yeah, we've got a lot of players who are bang on form at the moment. So the way we're playing so well, and the way Liverpool are playing not so great, what does football normally do to us?
Well, not exactly. I mean, there was times in the sort of 90s and early 2000s where United was strolling there, but they came to Anfield. And Gary Neville will always attest to it. They'd never have a good game. They might win it 1-0, but it's always going to be a test. I mean, the crowd's not going to be there, so it is going to be, that's going to be an advantage for you guys. But a wounded animal is a dangerous animal, and we've shown before that we can do it. Records are there to be to fall, and as I say, you've not won since 2003. We've already lost our record of 68 wins. The only record I do not want to lose this year is Everton when they come, because they've not won at Anfield since '99. So they're in a few weeks. So
my boss is a huge Everton fan, and he's already geared up for that. So if you lose on Sunday, are you out the title race, or do you still?
I think we are anyway. Because I don't think
it's a crazy season, though, Mark. Look at some of the freak results where
Yeah, but I think yours is gone now. I think you now, as like I said, sometimes you've won a couple of 1-0s recently, haven't you? Or just 2s, which usually do Burnley 5-0, don't you? It was
we did just the 2 this time, but it's 3 points.
It's 3 points.
It's the clean sheets what have impressed me with us this season. It's very un-Guardiola like in that respect, because normally it's just like go for it, score more goals. But even when we was 2-0 up the other night, when they got the ball, when Burnley got the ball, straight away like 6, 7, 8 City players all surrounding them, and it tends to, when you, Guardiola's philosophy is if you lose the ball, get it back within 5 seconds.
Yeah,
it seems like that hunger has come back, and it's going to be an interesting run into the to the end of the season, because if Liverpool, so where can you see Liverpool and finishing?
I think
the title race.
I think it's gone. Because not because we can't go on a run, but I don't think you're going to drop points like. And I have a friend. He's like, they could do, and I said, I think they've had their blip. I said they've got that machine status where they're just going into games and just and you've lost it. He's like, well, injuries. I said they've still lost players, not as much as us, but they've still lost players. And Aguero, I realize Aguero's not scored. I saw things saying Aguero's not scored a Premier League goal for a year, but then I looked, he's only played 11 games in a year.
Yeah, the commentators like to say that he's not scored for so long. You don't really, they don't say, oh yeah, but he's been out for what 11 months. He's not really at the game, but old school City fans like myself, Mark, it's even though we've won titles and cups and stuff like that, there's still always an element of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory kind of thing. So people like me never get ahead of myself, because it's a crazy season, and I do think that the fans not being at stadiums do make a difference. So anything can happen. So
obviously I want top 4, and I think that the fact that West Ham are there. Going into the game the other week against West Ham, if we'd have lost to West Ham, they'd have gone above us.
Yeah.
West Ham are biggest team in London right now. So there are them things, especially with the 3 games coming up. And I always worry. I'm not a pessimistic person, but I just think at the moment with the injuries we have and the team looking really jaded, because we don't have that ability to just swap players around. And the ones that are coming in when we can get them in aren't doing the job. Right now, if it was offered to me, and say you're out of the title race, would you take? I'd take top 4, because I just don't think we can go on a run to catch up. If we win on Sunday, what's that? 4 points, and you've still got a game in hand.
Yeah, but I'd rather have the points than the game in hand.
No, but the game in hand's against Everton, and you know how they like to roll over and have their belly tickled if we can win anything.
That's interesting, that, because was it last? I think it was last season, because where I work, there's loads of Evertonians, and they was all saying to that, which I find bizarre. I can understand it, but I find bizarre. I hope you absolutely leather us, tonight, because we don't want Liverpool, going too far ahead and wanting their own team to lose. So I can't see Ancelotti having that same
What they do. Yeah. I think it was 2014. You played them. I think they were your third to last game, and they had T-shirts printed up that was, "It's not about the winning; it's the taking part." Man City 3, Everton 1, and that's their mentality. And it's like I was on the Cop in '95. When we beat Blackburn, and I still wanted Liverpool to win. It nearly handed the title to Man United. But you always want your team to win.
Of course you do.
But they have, and when it. So when should you have played them? Was it January?
It was early on.
Yeah, early on in January. So because I'd tweeted, finally Everton fans are going to want their team to win, because obviously they were up there. Yeah. And then when it got postponed, I thought, if this goes, and then I think I tweeted, if this goes to the end of the season, Everton fans will be cheering for City again, by which time, we're out of the title race. But
we've got them now. It's been rescheduled. I think it's the 17th of February now. So
yeah.
On my Facebook group, I've asked the question, should the Everton match now be closer to the end of the season? But the general consensus is that City fans want it on the 17th, while we're in such a good, vein of form and stuff like that. So what's your prediction for Sunday? Give me a score.
These are always the tricky ones. I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2.
I'll take a draw, and I'd like us to score some home goals. Not own goals, home goals.
I'd like you to score some of them as well.
No, I'm going to go 2-2. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can sort ourselves out, and I think we will as well. And I think we do play better against teams that come on at us. I don't think City aren't going to sit back and then let us play it around the edge of the area and trying to get through it. And I think if we have got the players, but I think if Mane is back, I think if Fabinho's back,
that's a lot of quality coming back in with, for a Liverpool perspective. That's exactly what you need, and then you can give the likes of the Milners, a bit of a rest. The old man.
I mean he's done brilliant. He's done absolutely brilliant for us, as he did, as he's done for every team he's ever played for. He's just he's a phenomenal, but he's just not that creative going forward anymore. He's just. It's funny, I'd seen him on the Premier League years we're on, and when he was playing for Newcastle, and it showed him smashing goals in from the edge of the area. And it's like, last few weeks, one's rolled to him at the edge of the area, and I'm just thinking, have a pot, but no, he seems to want to just.
So on Sunday, it's going to be quite an entertaining game, isn't it? 2-2.
Yeah, well, what we had before, we've had 4 3s, haven't we? Last year.
What I'd love to see. So the lad can get his confidence back up. Is a Sterling winner.
Cough-end.
It'd just be a shame if that happened. There's no fans there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was there in. So it was, when was it? It was he missed his first season back because he was injured.
Yeah.
But then I was there at the game. It was on the Wednesday after you'd beat us in the Carling Cup, and I was there. So it was his first trip back to Anfield. And it was, he was always going to get booed as an ex-player, but it was realised very, very quickly how much it affected him, and he got hooked at half time. And I think, and I think reason now they do it, and even though players have gone, they'll get booed the first time back, and then generally it dissipates. But with Sterling, it always carried on because he always affected him, really affected him.
Well, and that's where the 12th man comes in. Especially like you say, the Anfield roar, etc. And if it gives you an advantage, well, why not using it? Anyway, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you, and I'll catch up with you on Sunday to see if it is actually at a 2-2.
Well, yeah, might put some money on it.
Yeah, I might just have a little flutter on that. Thanks for joining us, pal, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Great to speak to you, mate. All the best.
Cheers, buddy. Bye-bye. So there you go. That was Mark Duckett, Liverpool fan. He is an absolute cracking lad. I've known Mark for a number of years now. Always level-headed, and I think that is a good preview and analysis of Liverpool's season so far, and also City's. So if you want to follow Mark on Twitter, it's at Mark Bounce. All one word, Mark Bounce. Again, hope you enjoyed the show, and if you want to get involved, then give us a shout and we'll get you on. Until next time, stay safe. Bye bye.